Hi everyone, my name is Erin Elizabeth Wierenberg. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you are new here. Today we have a new moon and also an eclipse. So today's tarot reading will be reading the cards in a new moon way, where it's looking at new energy you can bring in, ways you can kind of focus on calling in new things into your life and putting energy in like this new way. And also eclipses are about the truth coming to light. They're about things shifting and changing. They're about just getting more clarity on situations and some more awareness in your life. So I will be reading the cards in that way for you. I have three groups for you. You can go ahead and pick by the card you can see, by the number, by the sound of my voice, group one, group two, or group three. When you're ready, all the timestamps are below, and I will see you at the reading that you chose. Hi everyone, welcome to everyone who picked group number one. So as a reminder, this is a new moon reading, so I'll be reading the cards in that way, focusing on like new energy and things to focus on. So you all picked the card, Our Lady of Sweet Rest. So this is very beautiful Mother Mary energy. So this is just a reminder that resting is part of the process. Resting is part of what it takes to feel fulfilled, to not fall into burnout, to not fall into resentment. There's such thing as sleeping, but there's also such things as intentional rest, as moving slowly, as doing things that really nourish your soul and are gentle and slow and kind and patient, just kind of moving a little bit slower than, okay, sleeping or full gear, grind culture 24/7. Okay. And I think on this card, the imagery on all these cards is so beautiful, but you can see like these hands here coming from the sun, these prayer hands. So I think just this card and this Mother Mary on this card has her eyes closed. So just really tuning into that energy of what does it mean to tune inward? What does it mean to slow down? When we go slow, sometimes we can have resistance to going slow because when we go slow, we have to be with ourselves. We have to hear what's going on inside. We have to be present. We have to feel all these feelings that maybe we've been avoiding as we've been going quickly throughout day-to-day life, right? So this card, Our Lady of Sweet Rest, is a reminder that tuning inward, connecting to your own energy can't hurt you, even if these feelings feel a lot or it feels overwhelming, right? When you tune into yourself, especially when you connect to your higher power or your angels, your spirit guides, whoever is your spiritual connection here, that's when we can really feel nourishment and connection and peace with ourselves. So with this new moon, I feel like Our Lady of Sweet Rest is reminding you all that rest is an important part of the process. Rest is an important part of getting through something. Sometimes we can be really motivated to just be like, okay, I'm done with this. Now I want to move on to the next thing. But we have to give ourselves, your body has to catch up. We have to give ourselves time to let our energy catch up, to let ourselves catch up, all of that. So Our Lady of Sweet Rest is a reminder that rest doesn't make you lazy. There are things that energetic things we have to purge and process and work through and release. And we do that by turning inward, by, letting these things like, again, just having some rest energy, having some patience, some slowness, some going slow. There are seasons where we do need to rest a little bit more. You're in the Northern Hemisphere. We are moving into winter, so the days are going to get shorter. This is a time for hibernation, for turning inward anyway. So just it's okay to rest. Rest is an important part of life, and there are seasons and cycles. We're not robots. There are seasons and cycles where we need a little bit more rest than other times. So this is resonating for you. At least part of your soul knows you deserve some rest, and you can kind of take a step back and relax and tune inward a little bit and not push yourself so much. So Our Lady of Sweet Rest, good reminder there. Okay, I'm going to look at your tarot cards and then I will look at your oracle cards after that. Okay, so opening your reading, we have the Page of Wands. We have the Tower. I love the Tower. And then we have the Six of Swords. Then we have Seven of Swords right into it. Interesting. Then we have the Six of Pentacles. Then we have Strength. And then we have the Knight of Wands. Okay, so first thing I'm getting from this reading is, group one, I feel like this is a time and a period for you to let things go, to not carry everything you need to carry moving forward. The Seven of Swords is about using discernment and having boundaries and knowing not everything can go with you to these next layers of your life. Not everything in your life can come. And sometimes we can feel like, oh my God, I need all this stuff to come with me. But the theme of your reading is the Seven of Swords. which is about not everything can come with you, not everything can move with you, all of that energy. And so knowing that there are going to be some boundaries and letting things go. And even when we have to let things go, that's part of rest, is like adjusting to what we've accepted to release, adjusting to like, okay, this thing doesn't serve me anymore, so I know I can get rid of, this, and this thing. And part of the emotional process of letting go is giving ourselves rest and time to recover and check in with ourselves, instead of just being like, oh, I did this thing and now, whatever, like from all of that, like, okay, I can move on to the next thing. Like there is transition time, there is time for our bodies to connect to that with all of this energy. So what I'm first seeing here with this Page of Wands, this is about like new energy or renewed passion, or like a new insight, a new direction. I'm hearing like on to the next one, like it's time for the new thing in your life. So if you're in a transitory time, or if you're trying to figure out what is going to come next for me, what is the next thing for me, this card is really supportive of that. And it's really a reminder that it is important for you to move forward and to trust this growth and what we're doing. But a lot of times we can get really excited that it's time to do that, but it's still up to us to remember that, that's all the good and excitement. But a lot of times what comes with moving into this new energy is, this Tower and Six of Swords energy. So sometimes we can get scared to do something different, to move into this new energy, especially with this new moon. Like I'm again on to the next thing, transitioning into this next layer of your life. This Page of Wands energy is really supportive of that. But what comes with that is this Tower energy and the Six of Swords. So this doesn't mean, sometimes doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Sometimes we think like, oh, well, I want this next layer of my life or this next thing. Sometimes we can forget that means, these other things have to fall down. We have to kind of move away from something that can't go with us. There are some feelings that don't feel the best when it is time for us to move into this new energy and these new things that are going on. So this Tower energy, I love the Tower because it's a good clear out, right? There has to be, if we want a new life, we have to like say goodbye to the old one, and we have to clear out a bunch of stuff, right? Rebirth comes from destruction. It comes from this energy of new things coming into play for us. And so a lot of times when we are ready to move to the next thing, we think, okay, it'll just be easy, I'll just go. Sometimes it is, but what I'm seeing for you guys in group one is if it's felt a little challenging, or like, I'm not really sure how this can happen for me, there's probably some stuff you're holding on that can't come with you. And, we can surrender that to God. Remember, like, okay, everything that's surrendered, I'm not in control, God is in control. And as long as I stay my path, then the things that are for me will move with me and will come with me to that next thing. So this Tower energy is really about surrendering and letting things go, that, not everything can come with us, and trusting that we will be taken care of and our needs will be met, even if it's not met immediately, right? And then the Six of Swords, of course, is like a little bit of sadness, a little bit of moving away from things that aren't for you. So I feel like some things are taken away, right? Or don't come with us, not by our choice. And some things we know we have to say no to, or we know, this can't come with me. This isn't in my highest interest. This isn't, the most beneficial thing for me to keep around in my life. So I feel like, trusting what leaves, and trusting that what is meant to stay with you will stay with you. A lot of times people, we can be afraid of change, not because of the actual change, but because of what we have to let go of, or who we have to become in order for that change to happen. So this is a reminder that, things falling apart or changing, and then having sadness and mourning that, and mourning what was lost. And even if we wanted to leave it, right, a loss is still a loss. Like that's all part of this process, and that's all normal. And that all contributes to the way that we show up, and the ways that we are able to, be present with ourselves and to grow into these things. And I feel like, once you work through that process, again, the center of your reading is this Seven of Swords. And just a reminder that, like, okay, you also have to be, these things aren't just happening to you. You also have to be intentional about the things that you choose to take with you, and the things you choose to leave behind. The things you choose, okay, this can come with me and this can't. I'm ready to move forward with this, but not with this, right? So the Seven of Swords is really getting very clear about, like, okay, this thing can come with me and these things can't, and this thing can, but this thing can't, right? So a lot of this energy of being, that's part of personal responsibility, that's part of being accountable for ourselves, is like knowing not everything can come with me, but I get a choice in certain things that come with me in these patterns and these thoughts and these whatever is going on for you. So with this new moon, I think as you grow into this next space you want to move into, or this next chapter of your life, just thinking about what are these things that I want to take with me? What are the things that feel good to me? What are the things that feel like this is what can work for me in this, and this way? And really owning that instead of feeling like, oh no, all this stuff is getting taken away from me. It's like, well, what am I being intentional about? What do I want to bring forward? What's the energy I want to create and cultivate in my life in these ways? Because then getting into your reading, we have the Six of Pentacles. So when you do that, this is like things are going to balance out. This is going to feel like, you will be shown mercy. You will be shown compassion. It's like sorting your way through, digging your way through the tunnel, sorting your way through the mud. It's got like an image of someone like crawling through things. This is all part of the process, and it is part of like finally finding stable ground again, finding the way these things work out, all of that, and just trusting again, things will come into balance for you, things will become more clear, and you will be shown like some mercy and compassion, and like God is merciful. But sometimes we're so focused on, well, this thing isn't happening my way, that we miss these other ways that God is actually being very merciful and kind towards us. So really just thinking about that and trusting in your heart. And you can even say the prayer like, God, please show me where your mercy is. Please show me where I'm being taken care of. Please show me where I'm being protected, right? You can pray for that. And again, because sometimes we just get so caught up in our own, well, God should be doing this particular thing for me, that we forget to look at all these other things that are happening for us and that are blessings for us. So just having faith that that will happen, and also remembering you do have the strength to make this happen. You have the strength to get to the other side. You have the strength to, these things will add up and will change for you, and will kind of, you have the strength to get through this, right? Sometimes we think, well, strength, if I'm strong enough to do this, then that means I won't feel fear, or I won't feel whatever, right? Strength is if you're doing it or not if you feel like, well, this is totally fine. It's like a walk in the park, no problem. Okay. So strength is a reminder that you can do this, and it is time for you to move through it. And even if you're like, done is better than perfect. So even if it doesn't feel like you're doing it in the best way, or it doesn't feel like you're doing everything correctly, right? This is the energy around like, the strength to do this and the strength to move through it is what keeps you going. And if you are willing to try and willing to trust the process, willing to take the steps you can do, willing to like be accountable and move through this, even if you're screaming, crying, throwing up, right? This strength card is a reminder that if you can do this, or if you're doing it, then you can do it. And that's all that matters, is if you're trying and if you're figuring it out along the way, which is how we figure it out, not the ego idea that, well, I need to know what to do and then I can do it, right? It's not how it works. It's always, we figure it out along the way. And then I just love this infinity sign here on this card too, because what I'm really hearing with that is like remembering you are tapped into this universal source energy. God is, all of us get all of our energy from God and from the earth and from these like, not from other people, not from situations, not from material things. Okay. So if you've been feeling a little bit like, okay, how can I get the strength to get through this? Just remember, God is always there as this like unlimited universal force to like flow through us, to fill us up, to make us feel okay. All of that energy. So the strength card is just a reminder that you can tap into that universal life force energy, and you can remember that God is the source for all of us, not anything in this physical reality. And so if you need some strength, ask God, Lord, give me strength. That's a very common prayer for a reason, even if people say it sarcastically, right? It is an important prayer, and people do rely on it. And so remembering you do have the strength to do this, you can get through this. And also remembering, just going back to the opening card of your reading, rest is part of strength. Knowing what to say no to, knowing what to say yes to, knowing which things can move with you, which things can't. That's part of strength too. So don't just think, this very one-dimensional version of strength of like, oh, I have to feel totally unstoppable and feel all this way and I'm going to do it and here I go and all this stuff, right? That's important. That's part of strength. But part of strength is also saying no, knowing our limits, knowing what doesn't work for us, knowing what we need to say no to, giving ourselves permission to disconnect, to rest, to, all of that. All of those things are strength. It's not just this, here I go, moving forward, the end, all of that, right? So holding on to that energy. And then closing your reading, we have the Knight of Wands. So first, this is really beautiful. Opening reading with the Page of Wands and closing with the Knight of Wands. Oh, they're backwards. So like this progression here. Okay, and knowing again with this Knight of Wands energy, that's a reminder that, you know, there will be progression, and a lot of times, how do I want to say this? Like when we start with this Page of Wands, like, okay, here's the idea, here's the beginning, whatever. We go through this whole process, right? This was a lot of emotions in these cards, right? We had the Tower, then the Six of Swords, Seven of Swords, Six of Pentacles, and the Strength. A lot of times we're so focused on getting through these things that we don't notice the way that all these things are adding up. We don't even notice we've changed, or we don't even notice that all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, my reality is different. I'm different. The work I've done has added up, even though I didn't realize it until all of a sudden, like, there it is, you know, boom. So this Knight of Wands, I think, is a reminder that even if it doesn't seem linear, and even if it doesn't seem like anything's happening, when you show up and when you do this and when you commit to yourself and when you commit to staying on your path and figuring things out, like the progression happens, and this Knight of Wands energy will continue. You'll continue to move along this progression. You'll continue to move along the way. You'll continue to pick up speed and momentum and just be further along your path, right? The path is made by walking, as they say. So this is just a reminder that as you continue to do these things, it will get more and more clear for you of what the path looks like, how to do that, and just remembering, again, this Knight of Wands energy is a progression and a growth from the Page of Wands. And so again, all these things are adding up and contributing to your growth, even if it doesn't seem like in these day-to-day moments anything's happening or changes happening, or, you know, whatever, right? This Knight of Wands is a reminder that things do change, you can change, all of that, even if you don't see it in this exact moment or don't see how all these things are happening, right? There's a lot of these like processes of alchemy that go on that we're focused on, I need to feel the sadness or do this or do that we don't see how it's a piece to our bigger puzzle, because we're so focused on, well, this doesn't feel good, so I don't want to do it, or how could this be connected to this? But again, if we just surrender and trust the process, all of those things are contributing to our growth and the way we're moving forward, even if you know, we can't really see how or why in these ways. Okay, I'm going to look at your oracle cards. Okay, so look at this. We have destruction. So this is just what I was talking about with the Tower card, of course, you know, and so just remembering that. I think this is really nice because, you know, these eyes on here, this looks like an owl to me, and owls are wise, as we know. So just, it's about trusting the process of the destruction and trusting that it is necessary. It is part of growth. It is part of these things happening for us and adding up. And just, again, like, we can't see the bigger picture. And so when we can zoom out, usually that happens when time passes and we're like, oh, that's why this happened, right? But until then, this destruction card can remind us that it is on purpose, it is intentional. These things, not everything can come with us. Everything has a season. The nature of life, the nature of nature is there is destruction and creation. And so remembering this is part of the process. It doesn't mean anything's going wrong. It's just, you know, if we're not robots, we're part of these like ecological systems. And so destruction is part of that. No matter how much, you know, our human little egos want to be like, no, I want it to stay the same and I want it to be like this, right? We have to trust in the destruction and the things that don't come with us. Because then we have trust in the unfolding, which is exactly what I was talking about this whole reading, right? In this process of, even if it's not going the way you think it should, or you have no idea how this is connected to this, or this could be doing this, right? Trust in the unfolding is a reminder that it's all part of the divine plan. There is something going on, even if you can't see it at this time. And just remembering that, you know, when we're like, what is this? This is so horrible. I don't know what's going on. It's like, God's in charge, not me. Like, you can, again, pray, please God, help me see how this could be something that's beneficial to me. Please help me trust you. Please let me let go of control, right? A lot of times we just can't trust in the unfolding because we're so committed and addicted to it has to be my way in this exact thing. But trust in the unfolding, again, is just about releasing and knowing that God's in control and not us. And then we have foxglove flower, so connection. So what I was talking about too, this feels like the same energy of the strength card of just like, you are always connected to the other side, right? There's an Afghan proverb of, if you feel far from God, who moved? Okay, like, so true, bestie. Okay, and this is just a reminder that we are connected to the other side always, and it is up to us to be able to tap into that connection, right? It's like God doesn't move, our angels don't move, like the other side support doesn't move, we move, we forget to open that up, we forget to feel connected to that, right? So connection is just a reminder that it's up to us to open that. We do have the support from the other side, but it comes down to us remembering that and like holding space for that and continuing to focus on that for ourselves. And then finally, we have the card You Are Healed. So the healing you've prayed for is on its way. So again, this I feel like is a reminder. So we're never fully healed, because once we heal something, there's also like expansion that happens, right? So healing is just expansion, and it's just beyond certain things. And, if you are a conscious human being, we can expand and heal and grow, our whole lifetime, in the very least, if not beyond that, right? So You Are Healed. This is a reminder that when you go through these processes, it is on purpose. It is serving your greater good. It's not to punish you. It's not, like this is part of the nature of life. And so the healing you prayed for is on its way. Again, zooming out, remembering the bigger picture, remembering the way that, God can turn our hearts. God can help us remember and feel these things in a way that's a little more nourishing and gentle than like kind of this really rough, like, that nothing's going my way, this could never work out, this could whatever, right? You are healed. God's mercy is all around us. It's just up to us to remember that and connect to that. Okay, I'm going to pick one affirmation card for you, group 1, to close your reading. Okay, we have, it's safe to ask for help. People want to support me. Very, very big lesson for a lot of us, especially us very sensitive people. Okay, so this is a reminder. Obviously, people in your life, your social support, but this, again, I feel like a lot of the energy I'm getting from this reading, group 1, is like, stop being connected from the other side. Okay, it's safe to ask for help. Ask God for help, your angels, your spirit guides, celestial beings, whoever resonates for you. It's safe to ask for help. People want to support me. People do want to support you, especially if it's in a reciprocal loving relationship, right? If you would do it for someone else, give them the opportunity and the gift to do that for you too. So remember to ask for help, okay? That's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi everyone, welcome. It's for everyone who picked group number 2. So as a reminder, this is a new moon reading, so we'll be reading the cards in that way in terms of new energy, and also with this eclipse energy, just thinking about fated changes or like us being pushed into these new areas that maybe we wouldn't necessarily choose for ourselves, but we know is important for us to get there. Okay, so you all picked the group or the card, Our Lady of Ripening on the Vine. I mean, yeah. And on here in this really tiny font, it says Awakening to Love. I don't know if you can see that. But the imagery is just really beautiful on this whole deck. But so Our Lady of Ripening on the Vine. So this is, most of us who are doing this work, this desire to turn inward, to grow, to change, to be on like this energetic spiritual path, we have big dreams and we want these things to happen and we want to be involved in this way and we want this to happen and this and blah blah blah, right? We're like dreamers, or we want these things, or we have these visions, or I have plans and goals and all this stuff. Sometimes we can think of it and then be like, okay, well, let me do that right now, and let me have this right now, and let me have it be like this right now, right? So this card is just a reminder that there is a process for all these things. There is a way for all these things to unfold that honors not only ourselves, but the world around us. There is a way for us to connect to this energy that is a reminder that, we do have to ripe on the vine, right? If you pick a fruit before it's ripe, it doesn't taste good, right? And so everything happens in divine timing, which is like the most annoying thing to hear ever, but it's true. Okay. And so it's a reminder that, we do have to ripen on the vine. And even if we do have these big goals and this big understanding of this is what I want to do, this is what I want to offer, this is where I want to go, that doesn't mean us being present right now isn't a gift also. And that doesn't mean that we can't offer things in this present moment. It doesn't mean that we're lacking anything right now to be of service already, to change the world with our energy, with our presence, right? How many times do you just interact with someone who's like calm and relaxed and you just feel better, right? Feel totally different energy than interacting with someone who's like, totally destabilized and all over the place and just can't like think clearly at all, right? So just remember that even if you do have these big goals and dreams that you want to offer, one of the best things you can do is just sit with someone and just offer like gentle, peaceful, calm energy. And that includes to yourself. Okay. So just remembering like you can be, you do have, we all have enough right now to offer like kindness and love and care to the world, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if it doesn't feel like we have that much to offer in this way, right? While we are waiting for these other dreams and things to like come to fruition, like don't diminish or ignore what you can offer to this world right now, right? All of us can do something every single day, how we show up, how we choose to be in tune with ourselves, like the energy we choose to pull out of ourselves and cultivate with the world around us, how we choose to engage with the world around us, right? All of that contributes to these things. And so Our Lady of Ripening on the Vine is a reminder that like while you are waiting for this process to happen, you have a choice of how you show up. And a lot of times what we learn while we're waiting for this particular thing or for this other thing to happen, that journey of alchemy and transformation is just as important, and actually is necessary and makes us a match for the thing we're waiting for. So sometimes we think like, where's this thing? What's happening? What's going on? Right. But a lot of times if we didn't go through these certain processes or this thing didn't take a certain amount of time, we wouldn't have been able to be a match for these other things outside of us. So just a reminder that, ripening on the vine is a necessary part of the process. It is part of what we need to do to show up in these ways. And it is part of, unlocking these secrets and these layers and these keys to our heart, and to all of that. And again, awakening to love, surrendering, knowing like God's in control, not us. It's God's time, not us. God says when. Sorry, but God says when. So just really surrendering to that and not feeling like you're doing something wrong if you can't push and pull and wrestle with reality to be the certain way, because we can't, no matter what new age whatever is floating around that says you are in complete control of your life. We are not. Okay. God says when all these factors line up. We cannot make things happen beyond the time that they're meant to happen. So trusting the process, leading into that. So with this new moon, just seeing if you can call in like some of this like patient, gentle, soothing energy while you're waiting, to get to the other side, and just saying like, how can I be more present? How can I be of service right now? What do I have access to right now in this moment that I can help and feel content and cultivated within my soul, and people I can reach right now, versus saving all my energy for this big, when I get there and when this thing happens, then everything will be perfect and amazing, right? Okay, I'm going to start with your tarot cards, and then we'll get your oracle cards after that. Opening your reading, we have the Two of Wands, and then we have the Ace of Cups, then we have the Wheel of Fortune, and then we have Seven of Cups, then we have the Page of Pentacles, and then we have Seven of Wands, and then we have the Fool. Okay, so group 2, I feel like you have more options than you think. So the center of your reading, the theme of your reading is the Seven of Cups, which is, of course, is about choices. It's about options. It's about deciding these certain things. And just remembering that, sometimes when we are waiting on the vine and we're ripening, we can be like, I'm so mad because I don't have this particular thing, or this thing I wanted didn't happen yet, or this thing isn't here, or this thing, whatever, right? And we're so focused on that thing not happening for us that we forget all these other 8 million things that are around us right now. So I feel like the theme of your reading group 2, the big message I'm hearing is like, don't limit yourself just because you don't have this one particular thing yet. So this energy is really about remembering that even if you're not where you want to be, or these other things haven't come to fruition yet, it's like, where am I right now? What do I have access to right now? Where can I show up right now? What things do I care about and that I can like make happen and focus on right now, right? And not putting all your eggs in this one basket and waiting for it to like completely happen and completely come to fruition, until all these other things. So again, with this new moon, just asking, you can pray or ask for guidance, or you can journal around like, how can I be of service right now? What can I do where I am right now, even if it's not where I want to be long term? How can I show up in these places where I have to be right now, and like be of service and be in this loving energy and be clear with myself, and not in a way that you like, completely ignore yourself or give up on your goals or don't take care of yourself. But if you have to be right here and right now, which you do, okay, that's part of life. If you have to be here right here and right now, it's like, how can I do that with an open heart, to the best of my ability, to these ways that serve other people and serve not just me, and I don't make it about me anymore, right? So opening your reading, we have this Two of Wands. So this is like take pause energy. It's about turning inward. It's about being contemplative. It's about decision. It's about, like some of the stillness. So I feel like it doesn't feel like I have to tell you this is a time for stillness. It feels like you're already there and you are restless about it. Group two. Okay, that's what it feels like. So this energy of, maybe things aren't happening yet, or maybe it's not clear what's supposed to happen yet, or you don't know how to tap into the energy of what's supposed to happen. So this Two of Wands is about, remembering like, okay, if this is where I am right now, God put me right here, right? God circled where you are on a map right now. That if you know that quote, that poem, this is just a reminder that, you are here, right now. And so what are you going to do with that? How are you going to turn inward? How are you going to do this Ace of Cups energy to like overflow and pour within yourself, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. And a lot of times if we are resentful or like, well, why didn't this happen yet? Why didn't this thing happen yet? Why didn't I get to go here, here, or here yet? Right? That just perpetuates us not feeling fulfilled, obviously, because we have resentment and anger and like, why isn't this happening? So if you are in this place of where you do need to be still, you do need to turn inward, you do need to all of that, right? Just remember that like sometimes we have to stay stuck because we've been too connected to things outside of us filling us up, and we need to connect back to ourselves and to God, right? Sometimes if we if things go our way a little too much, we think like, oh yeah, I'm in communion with God and my higher power and my spiritual, like, oh, that's fine. But it's not. We're just are going our way. And so we don't have to like push ourselves in that way. So this is a reminder to like kind of fill your own cup up, to replenish yourself, replenish your relationship with spirit, replenish your relationship with your higher power. Remembering like that is an important part of, when you get your blessings or when things are going your way, it's just as important to keep that relationship alive and flowing as it is when we're waiting for our blessings and when we're waiting to be on the path and waiting to be guided to be able to do that. So while you are waiting, this is the time to deepen your connection with God, to build more trust, to kind of like, sometimes if we get too swept up in this physical reality, things and material objects, we can forget to connect to God and we can forget that God is there. So this is a reminder that, while you are having to be still, this is, you can work on replenishing your own cup, filling up your own cup, all of that energy. Because then we have the Wheel of Fortune. So this is like fated changes. This is like very much an eclipse card. Okay, so we have eclipse energy, which is things moving for us in a way that, we didn't really anticipate before. So this Wheel of Fortune card is really about trusting that things are happening behind the scenes, even if we don't know, right? There's so many times that once the pieces finally come together for us, we're like, oh, that's why that had to happen. That's why this had to be like this and all this way, right? But we only see that usually once we get to the other side or once that happens, right? So part of faith is developing that faith and trusting in the process and trusting that God is taking care of us and arranging these pieces and things are coming together, even if we can't see it right now in this moment. That's what faith is. It's easy to say, I have faith, everything's working out for me. But when we feel uncomfortable, when we don't feel like we're being heard or listened to, and we can't see the bigger picture, that's when it's actually time to practice faith and practice connecting to all of that. So this is just a reminder that things are moving for you, things are changing in the background, things are moving forward with, that way in all of these ways. So this Wheel of Fortune is a reminder that you aren't abandoned, right? Something happening right now doesn't mean that God isn't working on it for you. It doesn't mean that things aren't happening, right? Things will not be withheld from you. It just might not be in the timing or exact way that you want it to be. So this is a reminder that while you are waiting, it's like, how do you develop your character? How do you stay in your integrity? How do you stay in this energy of like, I trust who and how I am, and I am proud of the way I'm acting in the meantime, right? What you do in the meantime is more indicative of your character than what you do when everything's going your way and everything's flowing and everything feels great, right? So this Wheel of Fortune is really about trusting this process, trusting the way God makes things move forward for you in these ways. Because once you do that, again, the center of your reading is the Seven of Cups energy of just like, oh, I do have choices. I do have options. I have this and this thing. Like, again, I'm just really hearing for you guys in group two, this energy of like, don't be so laser focused on this one thing that you miss all these other things that are going on for you, right? And you can keep this laser focus. You can surrender it to God and be like, this is the thing I really want. This is what I really want to have happen, okay? And knowing that if that's not happening right now, like not now doesn't mean never. And sometimes, again, God says when, it's on God's timing, not our time. But if you just look at all these other things around you that you could be focused on, or you could be doing, or you could be putting your energy, like those things are just as important as like this one thing you're laser focused on. Because when you do that, this beautiful energy, this Page of Pentacles, this is like a gift. This is a renewed energy of like, oh, abundance, right? Abundance is not just money. Abundance can come in the form of an idea. It can come in the form of meeting someone who knows someone who knows someone for you to get you to this thing. Abundance can come in, oh yeah, I thought of that idea and now I'm ready to implement it, right? So abundance can come in all these different ways. And sometimes we just get so focused. Again, like I'm just seeing this image of the blinders on and like, I need to have this thing and it has to be this exact way. Well, remember, we have options. Remember, we put our energy in these different places and we keep trying something while not giving up on the thing we want, right? But while that's happening, this is a reminder of this Page of Pentacles that, abundance can be delivered to you while you're waiting for this other thing. And maybe you do this one thing and you meet someone who knows someone who knows someone who whatever, and that leads you to your path, right? We don't know the way it's going to unfold. And a lot of times we get really committed to the story we've chosen to tell ourselves in our mind. And so when it's time to for something to happen for us, we're like, oh, it can't happen that way, so I'm not even going to try, or I'm not going to even open it up, or I'm not going to whatever, right? So this is a reminder that abundance can come in a way you least expect it, and you have to do a lot of battling the ego, my friend, to get there. Okay, so the Seven of Wands energy, this card is really about, fighting yourself. It's about a battle of the mind. I just love the imagery on it because there's no other people. There's just this one person. And you see they have mismatched shoes on. Okay, so this is energy about like remembering, can you tame your ego enough to accept God's guidance? Can you be willing to be wrong so that God can be right? So that you can be guided on the path that's for you, so you can be shown the way that's for you, instead of just like, has to be this exact way, this exact thing, this exact whatever. So this is saying like the more you get out of your own way and you let these things come to you, like that will open up your energy to make this a smoother process. Surrendering is freedom because it just comes down to, I'm not in control, God is. So what can I let go of so God can make this path easier and moving for me in a way that, I didn't realize could happen. And a lot of times, if we try to wrestle with reality, if we just get out of the way and let things come together on their own, it's so much smoother than if we were trying to be like, this has to be like this, and this has to be like this, and this has to whatever. If we can let go of control, the ease we're granted, because God is so much more powerful than us. Amazing, wonderful, very helpful. And then we have closing your reading with the Fool. So this is just, again, the willingness to move forward. I feel like if you are willing to look at this, like surrender to these changes from the eclipse and surrender to like these things of like, look, this might not have been the path you wanted, but we're here, baby. So let's see what happens, right? If you can surrender to that, kind of take it all in stride, this Fool energy is just like, okay, here I go. I'm ready. I'm ready to see what's happening, ready to see what's on the other side, right? So trusting that energy as you take the leap of faith, and I just think this is really interesting too. We have both of these cards here. And so another message I'm getting is like, you have a choice of, if you're backed off the ledge here, right? This person's about to fall off the ledge. This person's going to willingly jump, right? So you have a choice. Do you want to get pushed and shoved back because you're being resistant? Or do you want to move forward and have faith and open your heart and trust the process and trust God is with you this whole time? God won't put you through anything that you can't get through, right? So how do you trust? Do you want to like not even look where you're going and just get like pushed off the edge? Or do you want to contribute to yourself to be able to get to the other side and trust what's going on and trust that you get to where you want to be going, right? So you have a choice here. You can either surrender or suffer in a loop, right? So really looking at that energy and honoring, what the level of choice you have. These changes are going to come. This eclipse is going to come. You have to be patient. You have to be in this process anyway. So how you do it when you don't have a choice if you're doing it or not is, important. Okay, I'm going to look at your oracle cards for you. Okay, so first we have, which one do I want to start with? Embrace the new dawn. So this is what I was saying of, this could just be trusting that it's not going to go your way. Most things in life do not. We plan, but God plans, and God is the best of planners, as we say in Islam. So embrace the new dawn is really trusting that like God doesn't punish us, and this process is unfolding the way it is for a reason. And if you can have faith in that, then that's what makes the difference between, like, again, embracing or resisting. Like, do you want to surrender to this and say, this is what's going on? Or are you going to resist the way things are because you don't want to do it? So embracing the new dawn, embracing something different, embracing the way it's unfolding, with all of that. Because then we have be positive. Your thoughts can shape your experience. So be sure to focus on the positive. It's exactly what I was talking about, and not be positive in a spiritual bypassing way, but more be positive in a way of like, this is what's happening, so I might as well enjoy it. This is my life. This is where I ended up. This is what's going on. So can I give myself permission? Am I able to trust that this is what I need to be doing? Well, I'm going to focus on this. Here I am. Here I go. Here's what I have to do anyway. So can I do that instead of being so resistant that I'm so miserable the whole time, right? We can't control what cards we're dealt, but we can control the way we respond to them, the way we show up, the way we deal with them, all of those things. Because then we have chamomile, we have soothe. So I feel like this is, again, what I'm talking about with a lot of this reading of like filling up your own cup, connecting to God, really tapping into that nourishing energy, and just remembering like you have the choice. You are powerful enough, even if you don't want to do it, even if your ego throws a temper tantrum, that's fine. You can let it throw the temper tantrum, right? But you have the power to soothe yourself. You have the power to make a choice. You have the power to, get to the other side and just kind of like, a lot of emotional regulation is self-soothing. So like, what do I need to feel? Like, why am I afraid to surrender to this? Why am I afraid to let God be in charge? Why am I afraid to let go of control? If you can journal about that, maybe you can get some insight and then get clear about like, well, how can I soothe myself then? Like, if I'm afraid to let go because I don't think my needs will be met, or I'm afraid to let go because I think I'll be abandoned, or whatever it is for you. But just focusing on that and trusting, okay, that's what I think. How can I connect to this in a way that I soothe myself? What affirmations can I say? It's like, it's okay. I'm taken care of. Everything will be granted to me. I have everything I need. God loves me. God is taking care of me, right? How can you soothe yourself? And then this card, again, I pick my cards in advance, but I don't cherry pick them. So this is amazing. We have the Alchemist. So just what I was talking about this whole reading, you have the power to alchemize your experience. And that just means like you have the power to choose how you're experiencing what's happening to you. Okay. So again, we don't get to choose all the pieces of life, all the way life unfolds for us. We don't have that choice a lot of times, but we do have the choice of your energy is, you get the choice of how you're experiencing this. You get the choice of, all right, this is where I'm at. What am I going to do? And not in a way that like you don't feel your feelings. Let yourself be upset, let yourself be mad, let yourself be, whatever. If life kind of pushed you around in a way that didn't feel the best for you, I've been there, I get it. But this is a reminder, you have the power to get through these experiences and get to the other side and really honor, this journey. And just remember, that strength comes from within yourself and from connecting to God to be able to do that for you. So group 2, a lot of, surrendering and seeing if you can trust yourself and your own power enough to get through this process when it's not unfolding in the way that you want it, because life rarely unfolds in the way we want, right? And it's, trusting the inner strength we have to rely on isn't a punishment, but again, is part of our soul growth. If we're here for soul growth, there's a lot of things that we have to learn to make the best of our situation, because again, God is in control and not us. Okay, I'm going to pick one affirmation card for you guys, group 2. The more I honor my inner light, the more I brighten the world. I choose to shine. So again, this is just saying like, your inner light, you get a choice about how you show up, and you get a choice about how, if you're here anyway, what are you going to do in the meantime? What are you going to do while you're waiting? What are you going to do while you're ripening on the vine? Okay. So the more I honor my inner light, the more I brighten the world. I choose to shine. So just remember, you have a choice how you show up. You have a choice, maybe not of your circumstances, but how you show up to those circumstances. Don't give your power away. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you want any more information about me, all of that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi everyone, welcome. It's for everyone who picked group number 3. So as a reminder, this is a new moon reading with an eclipse. So I will be looking at like new energy, calling new energy into our lives where we kind of need to grow and expand into, even if we don't really want to. Okay, and then eclipse is about like fated changes, things we can't control, things moving forward and unfolding for us. In a lot of these ways we get pushed into change. Again, even if we don't really want to, that's part of life, right? We have to ebb and flow and keep going. So group 3, you all pick the card, Our Lady of Great Power. So, the imagery, I say this every time I use this deck, but the imagery is so beautiful in this deck. I love it so much. So what I'm hearing, two things. First is when we master a lesson in life, we think, I did it, I made it, the end, right? But if you are here for soul growth, if you're here to know that there's more to life than just this physical reality, part of what that means is knowing that our understandings of our own personal power and our own strength and our own ability is going to continue to grow and expand and change and evolve. So if you feel like I was powerful, I got through this, whatever, we're always going to be given circumstances where we can evolve to this next layer of ourselves. So Our Lady of Great Power is really about remembering you have power to turn into this next person, this next layer of yourself. And it's up to you to remember that, this isn't punishment. And even if you have done this before, it doesn't mean you moving into this next thing is to harm you or to make you feel upset or to it's not punishment. It's just remembering the more we're on earth, the more we have these lessons. It's so the longer we're on our spiritual path, it's for us to get more nuanced. It's for us to get more clear. It's for us to get more understanding into ourselves. It's to understand ourselves and God and the layers of this life more and more and more. And it's not to just be like, oh, well, I already got through this, so I don't need to grow anymore, right? You can stop growing if you want, right? You can tap out of life, even if you're still living. But I'm assuming because you're watching a tarot reading on YouTube that you are here for soul growth and spiritual growth. And so this is a reminder that you do have that power inside of you and you do have this ability to keep growing and changing and moving into these next layers of becoming more powerful. And power, again, not just saying like holding power, but power in terms of setting boundaries, having limits, saying this used to work for me, but now this other thing works for me. I used to want to be like this, but now I want to be like this, or I used to have this, but now I want this, right? So Our Lady of Great Power is a reminder that you can grow and change and you can get into these next layers of yourself. It's just important for you to trust the way that your evolution will come to you. And we don't have a choice a lot of times of the lesson that we're here to learn. It just kind of happens. Then we have to go with it. And then the other message I'm getting is, really see this Mother Mary is holding a baby here. I feel like the message is that you're pregnant. No, I'm just kidding. This is a message of, really holding your inner child. So much of a way we can show up for ourselves is when we feel fearful of doing something, it's because our inner child is like, no, 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 not this again. I don't want to do this thing. That reminds me of this time I didn't have agency or I had to bend because my needs were connected to this other person and I had to submit and I couldn't stand up for myself. So a lot of times when we reclaim our personal power, we're also reclaiming and protecting and showing up for our inner child or these things from our childhood where we couldn't we didn't have the agency or control or tools or whatever, anything, because we were just a baby. We were just little. We couldn't do anything better than what we could. So I feel like every time you evolve into this next layer of power for yourself, this next layer of ways you can show up, you're reclaiming this energy for your inner child and you're really protecting yourself and really again, you get stronger and more clear and have more clarity every time you say, oh, I don't need to repeat that anymore. I don't need to keep that pattern that I learned for survival when I was younger. I can instead grow in this other way for me. So Our Lady of Great Power is a reminder that, we don't ever stop growing if you are committed to the spiritual path, and we don't have a say in kind of the next lessons that are for us. We have that's the amazing thing about life and about God being in charge and not us being in charge is we don't know the next lesson that's going to come for us. We just know I have to show up and do it and see what happens, right? So Our Lady of Great Power. Okay, I'm going to look at your tarot cards and then I'll look at your oracle cards at the end of your reading. Okay, so opening your reading, 10 of Cups, emotional fulfillment for you, group 3. Then the Empress, love to see her. 8 of Cups, 7 of Pentacles, 8 of Swords, Five of Wands, and Ace of Swords. Yeah, so I'm getting a lot of resistance for you guys in group three. I'm getting like it's time for you to grow into this next layer of your life, and you don't really want to. You're kind of comfy. You were kind of feeling, okay, this is where I am, and I like it, and I don't need to grow or change or go to this next layer, right? I don't need to do these next things. I kind of liked where I was, and I liked what was happening, and I felt okay, right? So the theme of your reading, the center of your reading, is the Seven of Pentacles. So this is kind of like taking stock and being reflective of this is all the work I've put into my life. Can I be reflective? Can I focus on that? Can I get clear about what I have done in the past for myself? So I feel like you're in this contemplative energy of like, again, we sometimes we think, okay, I did it, I hit my goal, I evolved in this way, I got through this one lesson, I learned my lesson, right? So now I'm done, I don't have to do anymore, right? But when we have this Seven of Pentacles, this is a reminder of us to turn inward and to say, okay, I did do that, but life always moves on, life always goes, our soul is always asking to expand, to know itself, to get to these next layers. So Our Lady of Great Power here is a reminder that, when we are asked to grow and expand or have this next lesson, this next thing coming up for us, it's like, can we be reflective enough to say, what is the lesson for me here? What is the best thing for me to do, right? Because again, we can work through these things a lot, but it's still up to us to choose the way we show up and choose this next lesson and how we're going to work through that to get to this next place in our life. So what I'm seeing here with this, for you guys in group three is this Ten of Cups and this Empress. Like you were in a state of your life with a lot of emotional fulfillment. So it could have just been you hit a particular goal, like you got this certain job, or you stood up for yourself, or you left a relationship that wasn't working, or you finally moved into that house or apartment you wanted, or something happened where it was like, I did it, emotional fulfillment. I'm proud of myself. Ten of Cups is emotional fulfillment. I did it. I made it. I said no. I said yes. I hit my goal. I did this. I whatever, right? Lesson learned. And then this Empress energy is really like very, very powerful feminine energy. And feminine energy is not just submissive and soft. Like, okay, feminine energy is like really owning your power, and it really is owning it in a way that's like, that's enough, I'm done, right? Masculine is more like fighty energy, go get something, make something happen. But feminine energy, owning your power, is like the end. I'm also destruction, but I can do it just by removing my energy, or I know I got this thing in this way and I didn't have to try super hard for it. Okay. So this, I feel like there's some area of your life where you really embodied and just like you did it. Like you kicked the shit out of this lesson and you you got it. You understood it. Okay. So this is really about, there was emotional fulfillment. You learned your lesson, crystal clear, stamped, case closed, the end. This was, really clear for me and good for me. And so this Ten of Cups into the Empress, just really trusting a lot of those things coming together, and trusting the way that all those things worked for you, and trusting that, again, like we have continuous learning and growth and lessons, and there's different seasons and things to work through, and that contributes to, again, our own understanding of what power is, of what self-mastery is, of what that looks like for all of that. And then again, like this Ten of Cups into the Empress, just knowing, like, coming out of a phase of that. And then of course, life always changes, things always move on, it's time to evolve into the next thing, grow into the next thing. So I feel like with this Eight of Cups energy, this is a reminder that sometimes it is time to walk away, sometimes it is time to move on to the next thing, sometimes it is time to just again, be done with this thing. Sometimes we want to stay here forever and we say, I did it, I feel so good, I whatever, right? But again, that's not the nature of life. You are tapped into emotional growth and soul growth, which I personally believe that's why we're here. It's always going to be the next lesson. And so this Eight of Cups can be it's just really interesting, from this Ten of Cups to the Eight of Cups, this energy of, this thing was so fulfilling for me, I did learn this lesson, but again, the soul wants to grow, even if that growth doesn't feel the best, even if it is uncomfortable. So this is a reminder that, sometimes it is time to walk away from something that served us, that we got it, we figured it out, but there is something more, and the soul does want to grow. Again, even if it doesn't seem logical to the mind, but to the soul, we know that, moving on to the next layer is facing these uncomfortable parts of ourselves, is pushing ourselves to have discomfort and distress and get to the other side. I'm not talking about like abuse or trauma, okay, but I am talking about healthy level of growth, a healthy level of emotional distress, that's what creates resilience and grit and like pride in ourselves and connection. And just like the mind thinks we want everything to be easy and not to be challenged all the time, but actually it's helpful for our souls to go through this growth and expansion with these things. And so I feel like there's again with the resistance to this, I feel like it's like, oh, okay, here we go again. I have to do this. I have to look at this. I have to look at my lesson. I don't want to. I don't want to look at this. But this is a reminder to, if you're feeling nervous or whatever, this is about taking stock and looking at like, these are all these ways I've gotten through things before. It doesn't mean it will be the exact same this way, but it is about trusting yourself and trusting, again, the resilience you built for yourself, the way you've been able to get through things, the way you've been able to navigate every problem or situation you've had to go through. Like, don't forget that. Sometimes when it's time for us to change or face the next thing, we're like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. But it's like, remember all these other times you got through everything you had to get through in your life, and not minimizing that, not dismissing that, not releasing that, or, downplaying that, right? You really want to look at the ways that, um, you can really honor that within yourself. The Seven of Pentacles. And again, like really looking at, okay, I am powerful. I got through this, this, and this thing. I did this, this, and this thing. I showed up for myself in these ways and got there. And again, created this like really wonderful energy for myself and this life and made the best of my circumstances. But again, what I'm seeing here for you guys in group 3, I think with this new moon, this eclipse is going to force you into this change, into this next thing, this next part of your life for yourself. What I'm seeing for you guys is like a lot of resistance to this and a lot of like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to, whatever. So I see, this 8 of Swords and then this 5 of Wands. This resistance can come up as like feeling powerless, which is the energy we're getting from this, and then like conflict with others and wanting to fight with others because you feel uncomfortable and chaotic in yourself, so you project it outward. So I think with this new moon, you can think about, how can I tap into my power and not feel powerless? And how can I stop fighting with other people just because I'm going through a hard time, I'm going through something I don't maybe want to be going through? Okay, so this 8 of Swords is really, you see there's all these swords here, and this person's like barely, like they're wrapped up, but like barely, and it's just like this thing of we trap ourselves in our minds and we feel like, I don't have power. I don't want to do this. I can't do this. This feels so bad, whatever, right? So this is a reminder that you have more power than you think you do, and to like pull yourself out of this mindset, which is, if you have ever pulled yourself out of a dark place, God bless you. It's so hard. I know, I've been there, but this is a reminder, like, you can choose how you go through these things you go through. Even if it's just barely getting through it, if you get through it, that's it. That's amazing. That's wonderful for you. And then this 5 of Wands is a reminder too, to like not project this energy outward. And like when we feel chaotic inside, we create chaos outside of us. When we feel like at odds with ourselves, we tend to be at odds with people around us, right? When we feel peaceful and calm and like everything's going our way, and like this energy, probably it's less hard for you to pick a fight or to get in conflict with people outside of you in these ways. So these are just a reminder, like, you have more power than you think you have, and you don't need to start a fight. You don't need to do this. Like, if you feel the need to fight with someone or things outside of you, that's a sign to turn inward and say, okay, where am I out of balance within myself? Where can I connect to more awareness within myself instead of feeling like I need to, push all this energy outward? How can I sit with that and change that and turn inward? And again, looking at this energy of Our Lady of Great Power, this conquering ourselves in this new way, right? Mastering ourselves in a new way, like not just being at the mercy of, I need to react in this way and I need to do this and I need to do that. But how do we, how do we submit to that and just say, I don't want to fight. I don't want to do this. Like, obviously we want to stand up for justice and we want to fight the good fight that's necessary, but I'm talking about, unnecessary fighting, bickering, all of this, just like constantly being at odds when we don't need to be. So pulling yourself out of these energy. And again, with this new moon, journaling, where have I given my power away and how can I stop? And then this energy, how can I call more peace into my life? How can I stop being so combative, whatever, in my life with these things? And then closing reading of this Ace of Swords, really beautiful. I love like the holy light coming off of this in the bottom. Okay, so this reminder that like you do have a choice, the boundaries you set. So again, self-mastery doesn't happen immediately, no matter how many times you've learned lessons and changed things and done things, right? There's a new layer of it. And so this Ace of Swords is just a reminder that you have a choice. This is ace energy, so it's new energy. So this could be new territory of like, I've never set boundaries in this way before, but I really want to, or, I've never had to do it around this particular thing or this lesson I'm learning or this new way, but I'm ready to do it like that. So this Ace of Swords is a reminder that you can set boundaries. You can have these new ways of showing up. You can do things in a new way. And you have to start somewhere. So this isn't like, the King and Queen of Swords of like full mastery, very mature energy. This is a reminder, like, just start, just try to figure it out. You figure it out as you get going. Again, group 3, I'm hearing a lot of like, I don't want to do this again because I already learned my lesson already, which is true, but again, surrender or suffer in a loop. So how can you set boundaries in a new way? How can you just practice setting boundaries? How can you, just like this birth of this new energy in a way that maybe you haven't had to do so previously, right? So this Ace of Swords is about like new boundaries and trying something new, trying something different than you haven't before. And trusting that, and trusting, again, you'll figure it out along the way. That's part of self-mastery, is not just, we think, well, if I know exactly how it's going to go, then I'll be more willing to do it. But that's not how life is. So just trusting, okay, like I can start with this little boundary in this little way, and that's how I can show up. I have my power in this little way, and this is what I'm going to do. And again, just remembering Our Lady of Great Power is a reminder that like power changes, and our understanding of it and the way we hold our own self-mastery with ourselves and our own personal power is different as we continue to move through life, and we're in different seasons of things. Okay, I'm going to look at your oracle cards. Okay, so we have Bearberry and Strength. So this is what I was saying in terms of, a big message for this reading is like, don't give your power away. Don't feel like you can't do it. Just remember, you do have the strength to get through this. You've done this so many times. You can grow and rise into these new challenges in your life. And, doing something different and being different doesn't mean you feel totally comfortable and free and clear and like, I did it, I can do it, no problem, right? This is a reminder that doing it is what creates the strength, right? You develop your strength, and self-esteem comes from esteemable acts. The more you push yourself to be different, to do it, to move through these things, that's how strength develops, not from not doing it. You develop your strength along the way. You don't have it and then suddenly do it. It's you do these things and then that contributes to yourself. And then we have Speak Truth. So I feel like this is, another beautiful sword imagery. We turn upside down. Very similar to this Ace of Swords we have here. So I feel like this is a reminder that you have a choice in the boundaries you set. You have a choice in the way you show up for yourself. You have a choice in the way that you choose to give your power away or not. Okay, so again, Speak Truth is a reminder that, again, you have a choice in these things, and you can decide what feels best for you, what feels right for you. And just remembering, like, your truth is unique to you, and what works for you in this situation could be something you've never done before. It could be something you've done many times before, right? But you just need to honor the truth that's in your heart and the soul growth that is in your heart to do these things. And then we have Pause for Thought. So this is, again, I feel like really reflective of the theme of your reading that we found, of just like, okay, time to take inventory. Sometimes we think like, because I've gone through all these lessons in life, like I can just keep going and no problem, right? But when we get to these next layers, because we're different, the situations are different, things we've gone through are different, that's when we have to pause and turn inward and say, okay, what's my guidance for this particular situation in this particular time? And maybe something we've done forever and forever and forever isn't working anymore, and we need to be different in a way that maybe we hadn't before, right? So this pause for thought is about just remembering, like, okay, maybe I did it this certain way 10 million times, but now it's time for me to hear guidance and be different than I ever had before. So pause for thought with that. And then your last one is Baby's Breath. Magnify your intentions. Choose a specific goal to work toward. Your energy is spread out among too many ideas. Please bring your focus back to the key intention and let your angels help. So I feel like, again, sometimes when we're in the situation of like, okay, I have to work through this challenge. We can just default into, I've done this thing before and it worked, so I'm going to do it now again, right? But this is a reminder that focus your intention, or magnify your intention, again, is about focus. And I'm hearing, when we think about um, your great power, this is about knowing that it's important for you to um, choose the specific goal, and remember that, like, power can be sometimes admitting to yourself, okay, this way I did it for 10 years isn't working anymore, and I need to do something different. I'm ready to do something different. And so magnifying your intentions, just remember, like, do I want to grow and change, or do I want to just do it the way I've always done and be like, that's it, I don't have to try anymore, I don't have to learn anymore, I can just be on autopilot with these things. So magnifying your intention, again, if your intention is to grow and own your power and get into this next layer of self-mastery, it's really, getting out of your own way and hearing God's guidance in a way that maybe you haven't before. Okay, I'm going to close your reading with one affirmation card, group 3. Okay, we have, I can expand time when I'm inspired. So again, I feel like this is just a reminder. It's reflective of this energy of just like, you don't have to have all the answers right away. You don't have to be like, I need to figure this out, I need to do this, right? Like, when we're inspired, when we take time to turn inward, when we take time to, feel connected to ourselves, to feel clear, to just really, again, let that space be there for ourselves, that's when things can flow, because we've taken the time to hear the guidance and then hear our part in the divine plan, instead of being like, it has to be this way, it has to be on autopilot. So group 3, a big message for you guys is also from this whole reading, tune inward and be open to guidance that maybe you haven't done before, or maybe doing something in a way that you haven't previously done, because you can expand time when you're inspired. And that also means, like, God makes up for lost time. So if you think like, oh, I spent all this time figuring this out, or I had to do this, or I had to do that, when I could have just been moving forward, it's like God always makes up for lost time. And once you get to where you're supposed to be going, it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's why that had to happen, no problem, like, here we go. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.